So before I actually start the video, I would like to say that yes, it's been quite a while since I've uploaded, and when I say quite a while, I mean like a week-ish, which is not that long, but you know, for me, I upload like a video every 2 days or every 3 days or something like that. You know, it usually doesn't really get this long, you know, between uploads, and when that happens, I tend to have this weird like OCD thing where if I don't upload regularly, I start to feel really bad and insecure and weird, and I don't feel comfortable with myself. But one of the good things that has come from not uploading in the last week or making videos in the last week has been the fact that I have been able to watch like 2 to 3 films a day, which is just so good. And you know, I think that 2 to 3 films a day when I'm at school it's pretty impressive, and I'm pretty proud of myself for that. And obviously, you know, watching films is what I love, but also making videos is what I love, which is why I'm back doing this video. So let's begin. Now before I start trashing this film, I would like to say that The Greatest Showman does have some redeemable qualities, the biggest one being Hugh Jackman. He brings the same level of passion and energy to this film that he does to almost all of his films, and he's definitely the best part of this film. That being said, the rest of the cast are also pretty good, but it's a shame that most of the characters in this film are either completely unnecessary or boringly, blandly, stupidly written. So I didn't get the chance to see this film in cinemas, but from what I heard, it was a pretty divisive film, as most critics and YouTubers hated it, while the general audience seemed to love it. And when I saw this film about a month ago, I completely understood why. The Greatest Showman is this incredibly predictable, directionless cheese fest. And the fact that this film is so cheesy and melodramatic is probably why so many people have said that they like this film, because it has so much heart. To those people, I respectfully disagree. The Greatest Showman does not have that much heart. This film has heart. This film has heart, but definitely not this one. Now, I absolutely understand why someone would say that this is a very enjoyable, encouraging, and inspiring film, but these messages and themes that the film tries to explore, and pretty much everything else it does, are presented to you in a way that anyone and everyone who is into filmmaking and watches films on a daily basis like I do could pretty easily describe as amateur. And that's exactly what I'll be looking at in this video. Now, I will be comparing this film to La La Land quite a bit, mainly because the people who did the lyrics for La La Land were the ones who wrote the songs for this film, but also because La La Land is basically the gold standard for modern day musicals, that and Sing Street, if you count Sing Street. And The Greatest Showman is a great example of how one should not go about making a musical, or any film for that matter. Now, I have nothing against the director of this film. From watching interviews, he seems like a perfectly nice guy, and you know, this being his first feature-length film, it's a pretty big film with big actors and big set pieces that probably needed to be executed with a certain amount of time and money, but some of the mistakes that director Michael Gracie made in this film are just not good. I will be mainly breaking down some of the song and dance set pieces, one in particular that really stood out to me, and hopefully by the end of this video, I may have convinced some of you that The Greatest Showman is not that good a film, especially from a filmmaking standpoint. One of the weakest aspects of the filmmaking is how Gracie directed some of these song and dance films, as I've just said. Unlike La La Land, the film seems to stop every time they start to sing and dance. The songs, although finely written and pretty well performed, feel like they were written to be famous pop songs for teenagers and cover bands. The songs in La La Land were so damn important to the film. They served as both a foreshadowing and commentary on Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone's relationship in the film, along with so many other things. And every time they started singing in La La Land, these set pieces felt like they were a part of the film. They felt organic, they had a style of their own, and they contributed to the development of the characters and the story. Whereas The Greatest Showman had to stop everything so that these song and dance scenes could happen. It basically felt like story, music video, story, music video, story, music video. So the main scene that I really wanted to look into is this one right here. It's the first time we see Rebecca Ferguson's character sing. Now, it's established slightly earlier on in the film that she's meant to be this great singer and that she'll blow you away. And so there's this level of anticipation built into the scene as she walks on stage. That's pretty good. She starts to sing and she's great. Now pay attention to this part, because this is where it really all goes to shit. As she is singing, they keep cutting to all the different people, which completely takes you out of the experience. They show you Hugh Jackman's reaction, and his wife and his kids, and then Zac Efron and Zendaya, and they keep doing this until the song finishes. I think it's fair to say that the point of this scene is to show us just how amazing Rebecca Ferguson is as a singer. But how are we meant to see that if they keep cutting to other people? They should have let her performance speak for itself instead of showing the greatness of her performance through the reactions of other characters. It's like watching the trailer for Avengers Infinity War or watching someone's reaction to said trailer. When you're watching a reaction, there's this extra layer between you and the material that shouldn't really be there. When you click on a trailer reaction on YouTube, you're there to see what this certain person thinks of the trailer and how it affects them. But with this scene, no one cares what Zac Efron thinks of the performance. We just want to see the performance. So what they should have done is take all the reactions out of the scene. They should have taken this whole bit with Zac Efron and Zendaya and their love story thing and take out Michelle Williams and the kids and even take out Hugh Jackman. And after she's finished singing, then you show their reactions. There's also a huge missed opportunity with the way that this scene was shot, because in my opinion, this scene would have been so much better if they had done what I like to call a Steve McQueen long take. Now, for those of you not familiar with the work of director Steve McQueen, especially his long takes, let me give you a quick explanation. A Steve McQueen long take is not like your average long take with tons of camera movements and hidden cuts and all that. He has done that once or twice and to incredible results, might I add. But the long take that I feel he is famous for, and the long take which I think should have been used in this scene, is the one where he basically puts the camera there, yells action, goes to get a coffee or something, then comes back 20 minutes later and yells cut. As you notice, the camera movement is incredibly subtle, and in the film Hunger, the camera does not move at all. What this achieves is a sense of pure, unparalleled immersion. You feel completely enveloped by the scene and the performances of the actors in. And as the scene plays out, you begin to see these people as people and not characters. And then you feel as if you are watching the lives of these people play out, and in turn you begin to forget that you are watching a film. If you don't agree with me, then let's take a look at La La Land. A very similar scene in that film also utilizes a long take, although the camera movement here is a little bit less subtle, but it basically achieves the desired effect. In this scene, all you see is Emma Stone and her brilliant performance. Anything and everything else fades away, and it's just you and the performance, which is why the scene works so well. To add insult to injury, The Greatest Showman's cinematographer is Seamus McGarvey, who is this incredibly talented and underrated cinematographer who has shot films such as Nocturnal Animals, Godzilla, and The Avengers. But more importantly, he was the cinematographer for a film called Atonement, which is famous for its iconic long take sequence on Dunkirk Beach. So basically they had a long take expert as their cinematographer, but they didn't utilize his amazing skills to their full extent. So how this scene should have played out is that she walks on stage, she begins to sing, the camera starts off quite far away from her, it's a nice wide shot, which slowly moves in as she is singing, and by the end of the song, it's a close-up of her face. And then you show the reactions. What this achieves is not only a much better sense of immersion, but it also eliminates all the unnecessary subplots that didn't really need to be in the film and only took away from the focus of the story. So what I'm trying to get at here is that The Greatest Showman is a film with so much untapped potential, and that in the hands of a great filmmaker could have been something really special as opposed to just being a cheesy, disposable film that manipulates its audience through cheesy dialogue and some nice songs. Personally, I would have loved to see this film directed by Paul King, the man behind the Paddington films. He proved with the Paddington films that he is able to tell a genuinely heartfelt story through incredible visuals and cinematography. There are some great long takes in the Paddington films, by the way. Not only that, King is able to tell this story in an incredibly tight and efficient way that gives the film a genuine sense of focus without losing any of its heart. In the hands of a great filmmaker, I think that this is something that The Greatest Showman could and should have accomplished.